Next up on the list, I know some people or two are really looking forward to this. Ranma half or
I
Ranma one
I
half.
have to start on this one because I
Yes,
have a
Okay.
lot I want to say about this one.
of
So
course.
first of all, this is 100% my anime of the season. I don't know about anime of the year yet because usually when I count anime of the year, I count when they're completed. So I don't know if this is gonna have one or two arcs, two cores. I don't think that has been announced yet, but
No,
we'll
it
see.
hasn't.
Yeah, so we'll see. I hope for two cores though. That would be great.
Well,
More Ranma for me.
if it follows what the remake of Yura Yatsura, then it will probably be two cores.
I hope so. I hope so. I really enjoy it. And I mean, me also saying it's anime of the season, it kind of personal reasons too, because I read the manga as a child. So I'm very, very much passionate about this anime. I do like the animation. I think Mappa has done an amazing job here. I think maybe some people's criticism might be, although I haven't heard it, but I would understand it still if it's too colorful animation. Maybe I
No,
can get that.
no,
But I
that's
still
not.
think it's very good.
I do have one criticism about the animation, uh, and that is only that. Considering the fact this is Studio Mappa, and the remake of
I'll be right back.
Yura Yatsura, yep, is a different studio. I'm just double check which one it is. David Production. They've got pretty much they got the same animation. I'm like, you're two different studios. You
Maybe the
shouldn't
same
be the
staff. I don't know.
same. You shouldn't have the same animation, and yet they've both got the same animation. I'm just like, what? But yeah,
Well, it's a minor issue, really. It's
it's a
still a good
minor issue.
animation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Although,
sorry,
yeah,
continue, please.
yeah. So the next thing, also, I do think for someone who has read the manga, I think the adaptation has been very well so far. I only seen like a few things they've skipped, well, because it's normal to skip sometimes, right? But I think overall they've been very faithful to the manga. And they also added some original scenes, which I think has been fitting very well. For example, there is one scene where Kuno is going into the locker room, to the locker in the classroom to change like Superman. They don't have that in the manga. There's another part where Kuno confesses to female Ranma, and Ranma turns into Ash. That doesn't happen in the in the manga either. So that was very well done. And I do like the moments with Ranma and Akane. I think that that's one of the main reasons we watch it, is to watch the romance between Ranma and Akane, and I really enjoy that. Now, there are some issues that is not really related to the anime itself, but more Twitter when it comes to this show. And I'm going to go into those. So, the first thing, and I get that some people don't like it, but the first thing is the censorship that some people are complaining about. Because the main focus of this show is not to show nipples on a gender bender character. That's not what this show is about. And also 99% of today's ecchi anime is censored in one way or another. This is no exception. I don't know if you guys saw, I actually had a debate with someone on Twitter yesterday where I told him, because he apparently said, oh, the censorship ruins everything. And I told him that, well, this is pretty much how all ecchi shows are today. They're usually censored. His counterattack is, well, gushing over magical girls. And I'm like, well, that show has a completely different focus than what Ranma has. Ranma is not focused on showing the ecchi or nipples or anything like that. The focus of Ranma is to show Ranma and Akane and the action around that. As the ecchi is just a bonus, but it's not the main focus. So you get very frustrated because I also saw someone say on Twitter that, oh, they dropped the show because of the quote censoring for modernized audience, and I'm just like, okay, so if you decide to drop it
Oh,
because it's censored,
I saw that one complaint about they removed the little communist sticker on one of the stuff on one of the outfits that Raman was wearing because they don't want to make that reference to it.
I didn't know
And
that.
I'm just like, I get the outrage, but it's just like, if you're gonna drop the anime over this,
Like,
then be my
yeah,
then be my guest, cause stuff like that's been done for a long time, and it's not just because like just doing a global because because you have to think many people in Japan just may not just be comfortable seeing that on TV. That's just straight up, and just like you can have your uncensored version in another place. Okay, that's what they have.
Yeah, and considering fact, the world.
I'm not trying to advocate censorship.
Yeah.
It's just like I understand why
And
censorship
I
is.
do get, I understand it as well because, like, you have to remember, like, Ranma and a half was originally made in like 1989. Like that is now like 40 or so years ago now. The world of then and the world of now is different. Like it's a completely different
we have
landscape.
to accept that it's different now.
So like dropping a show because it's not showing like a reference to something of that era. Yeah, do some history on why it was like he had that particular signature back in 1989. There's a reason for that. So
If I remember, wasn't that controversial back then? I don't remember if it
probably maybe.
I don't even know he had that actually from the start. I must have missed that. But going back to that, so also if we go back to the Gashing of the Magical Girls, although I didn't watch the anime, but as far as I understood it, also it had 3 different versions, so there is still some censorship in that one too. And usually other ecchi shows that has like.
Why do you think visual novels have partially? Why do you think visual novels even have some partially censored versions? Like, come on, like you got. Again, I'm not trying to advocate it. You just have to understand why it's there. The problem when I have is when it feels like they're trying to push everything to be, to be safe, or they have it so blatant. Like it feels like
I'm going to argue this. When it's a bath scene or when they're changing, that's not fan service. That is normal life. Like if you're censoring that, then there's a problem because that's not fan service. I'm sorry.
Because when they were showing Asuna's hangers when she was bathing, that is perfect. That is perfectly fine. No one should have an issue with. No one should have an issue with that. Why can't we? Why is it so hard to ask for it? We're not asking for full on nudity. People running on the streets naked and all. We're just asking like just show it here and there and stop being so blatant about trying to cover all that up.
Yeah, I get it. But the problem I had is when you decide to drop a whole show just for that specific reason.
Don't drop the show for that. Like,
that's another thing.
Then you just was watching it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And there was actually a reply to that one. Oh, boo-hoo, you can't see nipples, which made me laugh. I actually gave that one a like too. The second problem I have, and I don't know if this is a new thing to do now, because I don't think this was how it was when Ranma first was released in '89.
Well, just remember, I'm watching the original now, so if there's anything that you're having problems with,
you can make the comparisons.
No, it's still a Twitter issue actually. So there are scenes where
I won't take anything said on Twitter as serious at all because Twitter is a bloodbath of stupidity now. So.
Yeah, I still want to mention it though because it's very important to me. So the things sometimes we see these wholesome moments, right, between Ranma and Akane, that's very romantic, and sometimes it's that Ranma is a girl, and then I see some people say that, oh, this means Akane is bisexual, and I'm like, no, she fell in love with the guy Ranma. That just happens to be a girl sometimes, but she fell in love with the man Ranma. It's very, very important. There are also people say that this is Yuri, and he's not Yuri. And that makes me a bit upset. Like, don't get me wrong.
It never came off to me as her.
Yeah,
being
it's definitely not a Yuri show.
It's just part.
Yeah, I think
the issue that Ranma has to deal with. Yes, she has not shown. To me, she's not shown any interest in the girl Ranma. He shows interest in the boy Ranma. You know?
Right.
Yes.
And I think that's what I meant. Like this, I don't think when people watch this show in like 89, they probably weren't thinking like, oh, this is Yuri's show or stuff like that. It was just
I don't
like,
even think that was a thing back then.
No, it
no,
wasn't.
it's a new thing apparently on Twitter, which makes me a bit like, I love the fact that we get a remake of this for people to see the old classics that are I
This is
really
what I
enjoy.
don't like about
But-
newer anime fans.
Yeah,
They
but
just
yeah,
They
exactly.
try
It
don't.
gets the
Yeah, they
wrong
don't get it. They
focus.
don't understand what it actually means to be an anime fan these days.
Yeah,
So,
so I still want to discuss that one actually, because this is. I want to get something correct here. I do enjoy watching Yuri anime actually, because many of them are very wholesome. But you
Yeah.
have to be able to separate actual Yuri from this. This is not Yuri, and this is not the first time I've seen it either. I've seen it in other animes that is not Yuri. One great example, Hibiki
Euphonium.
Euphonium.
Yeah.
Yes, the girl
It's
is in
it's
love
fun to
with the
ship,
male
but they're
teacher.
not really into. It's fun to ship, but they're not really into
Yeah.
each other. And all.
And also, we have to remember that one of the girls is in love with the male teacher, but because we see
Yeah,
her
but-
together with Kumiko, we're like, oh, it's Yuri moment. No, it's not. So this is not the first time, and I'm like, please separate real Yuri from this. You know, there's nothing wrong with Yuri. I actually enjoy watching Yuri, but please see the difference. That's very important. That was my rant, really, about Twitter, the whole censorship and the fact that this is straight romance, nothing else. But other than that, I don't have anything else to say. I think, as I said, this is my favorite anime of the season. I enjoy it a lot, but mostly
I'm
because
enjoying
I read
it.
the manga. And
well,
yeah,
I'm